Here we go then, the build-up has been done. Now the racers look towards racing because that's what they've come here to do. That's what we want to see, and we should be in for a monumental race from the juniors. As ever, wherever you look within the field, there are some cracking overtakes to be made and some really strong competitors out there on track. The karts are about to head off on the first of 2 formation laps, and of course towards the end of the second one, they'll have to slow themselves down, get in grid formation and get ready for a rolling start, which they have to run through their grid hatchings. But the way the grid lines up for this, the final here in Belgium, is going to be as follows. Axel Charpentier, who has come from 11th on the grid in the pre-final to win that race. He now starts from the best place on the grid. Pole position for Axel. Alongside him it's going to be the Dutchman, which is Glenn van Berlo. Row 2 is then headed by the man who was quickest in qualifying on Friday. That is Adam Smalley, and Ollie Caldwell is going to be there alongside him on that second row. Back on row 3, we then see the Finn, which is Laurie Lepper, and we have also Conor McCarthy on the outside of that third row. The outside row of those rows is going to be a little bit tricky down towards the first corner, but we'll see what they can all do to try and muscle their way to the inside. Row 4 is then Jorkos, a storming drive from him in the pre-final as well. He'll start 7th on the grid with Antoine Percival alongside. Back on row 5, the Frenchman is Jean Nomblay and Javier Hansemeyer on his home track here today. Row 6 is then Tamino Bergmeyer, and Mark Kimber lines up in 12th place. On to row 7 is Joe Phillips, again not the best of pre-finals for him. Let's see what work he can do from 13th on the grid. Unlucky for some, they may say. Pietro Visnicki is next up alongside him. Then on row 8 it's going to be Oja and Ruben Del Sarce. Row 9 is headed by Enzo Valiante, and Matthias Lund is alongside him. On to row 10 is our female racer Madeline Radner and Max Pilker on the outside. Back to row 11 is Phil Doer and Laszlo Toff. Row 12 then sees Kenzo Ayres and Tadej Clement, who was a winner in one of the heats yesterday, but he's found himself languishing down in 24th place. On row 13 is Janda Prijbalak and Pepsin Krajeveld. Row 14 sees Marco Andreas Muro and Dan Wilhelms. Row 15 has Walter Savidras and Andrea Volta. Row 16 is Tom Cannon. Lots of work to do for him from 31st on the grid, and he's got Tita Shanghai Schmidi alongside. And the final kart on the grid is going to be Sim Ledma. I don't think Hugo Anderson will be a starter according to our grid sheet, so he is missing, which leaves us with 33 juniors ready to go for racing once more here in Belgium. 14 laps ahead of the juniors. Axel Charpentier, the quickest through the pre-final to get himself on to the pole position. Now he needs to control the race over the next 14 laps, which is going to equate to just under 15 minutes of racing, which is the longest they've had this weekend across the course of the 2 days. They get longer and longer. Heats are 8 laps, the pre-final was 11, and for this final is 14, so it may take a little bit of energy out of some of them, but they should all be ready, raring to go, and so are we. We cannot wait for this junior race to get underway. Their final bit of track action here in Belgium. Who is going to come out ahead at turn 1? That is the all-important question. Will they all survive? And who will be left by the wayside as well? We'll find out now as I head in towards the final corner. They'll turn their way through the right-hander. They'll start building speed, and as soon as Thomas Liner is happy with the grid, he'll unleash them with the red lights about to be extinguished. Through the final corner they head in sunshine once again in Belgium. The build of speed has begun down towards the first corner. We're underway for the final in juniors, and Axel Charpentier doesn't make the best of starts. Glenn van Berlo goes right round the outside line. You rarely see that here in Belgium, but he's made it work. There's drama at turn 1 for one of the karts that has gone off, I think in avoidance of something else that happened in front of them, so they get back on the track. But Glenn van Berlo from the start has gone right round the outside, as we said, to take the lead of the race. Second is Axel Charpentier. At third down the back stretch may possibly be Ollie Caldwell there in kart number 64, so definitely the outside line was the one to be on for this race. That may not be the occasion for the next 2 which follow, but Ollie Caldwell is there in third. Adam Smalley then is fourth, and then behind those in the mix there we've got one of the Strawberry Racing karts, which could be Conor McCarthy looking for a move down towards turn number 8 on Adam Smalley, but for now it is going to be Glenn van Berlo that leads the end of the first lap. Charpentier second, Caldwell is third, Adam Smalley is fourth, fifth then is going to be number 23, which is Conor McCarthy indeed, and then behind that number 36 is Laurie Lepper from 5th on the grid. That's how they complete the first lap. A change possibly for second. Axel Charpentier under attack already on another lap here. He's got to defend with all his might, which we know he's good at. But can he now attack at the same time? Glenn van Berlo, who leads this race, on towards the right-hander at turn 4. They now go in towards the hairpin. No moves coming as of yet. but be warned, they are on their way, and that is going to shape up the field before too much longer. The one we had spinning at turn 1 on that first lap was Madeline Radner, the Swede, who has dropped down now to 34th place. So Madeline has got work to do, and also Max Pilker lost down. He's dropped down to 33rd, and I was proven wrong because Hugo Anderson did start, by the way. He was not on my grid sheet, but he has been through on the end of the first lap. Meantime, back to the front, the gap has come down between Glenn Van Berlo and Axel Charpentier. It was at the end of that lap, but some 0.4 of a second. We're now down to literally 1/10 of a second between the two as they come back onto the start-finish line. The top 4 have bunched up as well. Ollie Cordwell and Adam Smalley is there. There goes Axel for a move at turn 1, and he gets the job done down the inside line, back where he belongs this weekend. He's out front, but how long can he hold on for? Can he defend on the exit of turn number 3? He's doing so far, but what's going to happen at turn 4? Always a key overtaking place as Glenn Van Berlo gets a slight push there from Ollie Caldwell through the hairpin. So he's now dropped down to possibly 4th, maybe even lower. Nope, just 4th for Glenn Van Berlo. He's shuffled in front of Conor McCarthy and Laurie Lepper. It does mean, though, that Caldwell and Smalley move into 2nd and 3rd. They are the next two to challenge race leader Axel Charpentier. There you can see Laurie Lepper. There's Anton Percival. There's Mark Kimber in cart number 7, who now looks for a move down the inside at turn number 8, and he goes through on Anton. So through goes Mark Kimber. Again, more great progress being made by cart number 7, 12th on the grid, up now into 7th place. So Mark Kimber, he said on the grid he had the potential to do so. It's exactly what's happening within this race. He's got his teammate out front, which is Axel Charpentier, again defending this time from Ollie Caldwell. A big lunge there from the inside from Conor McCarthy. Does he make it stick on Glenn Van Berlo? Yes, he does. So Conor McCarthy now sits himself in 4th place. Glenn Van Berlo to 5th. Slight gap back to Laurie Lepper in 6th. And then Mark Kimber is again on the attack. In fact, he's just got through on Laurie Lepper by the looks of it. So another change there. Conor McCarthy fights back on Glenn Van Berlo down towards turn number 5. 4 carts all together. Then a slight gap back to the next one, which is Javier Hansemeyer and Tamina Bergmeyer, and also Anton Percival, who's lost out. Conor McCarthy again looks towards the inside line at turn 7. Nothing happening as of yet. He's now defensive down towards turn 8 because on his tail is going to be Laurie Lepper by the looks of it. So those two continue to have a great scrap on this, the 3rd lap, in fact the 4th lap of the race, going through very quickly once more here. But the fight at the front is still continuing. The battle between Axel and Ollie Caldwell. Again, a little bit of bumping on the start line as Ollie tries to think about his move at turn 1. That was a line-up manoeuvre. Next time round it could be a full attack to get into the lead of this race, but for now Ollie just sits there in cart number 64 for the KR Sport team, with Strawberry Racing's Axel Charpentier leading the way. On towards the back straight they head once more. There's only what's going to be 0.08 of a second, if that, between the top two as they hit the brakes at turn number 5. Adam Smalley's still with them, so he has a chance as well to pick up any pieces if it does shatter in front of him. But for now he's just sitting, waiting, and see what does happen between those two in front. Slight gap back to 4th, which is Glenn Van Berlo. He's got back ahead of Mark Kimber, who's the leader of the next train for Strawberry Racing. Then we've got Laurie Lepper in there, and the likes of Conor McCarthy, who's now dropped back to 7th place. Tamina Bergmeyer can see going through ahead of Anton Percival and Javier Hansemeyer to round out your top 10 at the end of lap number 5. As again, another bump there from Ollie Caldwell down towards the first corner, but he can't get through. It's kind of a bump that comes midway through that straight, but in doing so he then hampers himself not to get any move done at the first corner. So Ollie still sits there in 2nd. Watch out for Glenn Van Berlo now, because he is not too far adrift from these 3. He's getting closer and closer. Just saw him coming into shot there. So Glenn Van Berlo, again, who took a win in the heats yesterday, he is a real threat to these 3 and could come on strong towards the end. So Glenn Van Berlo just there. There he is on your screen now as he heads his way on towards the left-hander at turn 7 for the Hugo Motorsport team. And then behind that you can see the 2 Strawberry Racing guys as well. Still Mark Kimber ahead of Laurie Lepper as they turn their way through the right-hander to the completion of another lap. But back to the front, here comes Ollie Caldwell. Can he get to the inside line? No, he can't. Again, this is a strange, peculiar method of not going past Axel. Maybe he's just going to sit there the whole race long and then pounce at the final opportunity. But as we saw in the pre-final, on that last lap, Axel Charpentier, who runs slightly wide at the exit of turn 1, was very defensive. A bit of a barging move there from Adam Smalley to get through on Ollie Caldwell, and he would have probably thought of going through there, because he's now been ushered very quickly down to 5th place. So it's all changed for 2nd. I think Glenn Van Berlo has come through as well. Yes, he has. So Adam Smalley made a move, but then lost one the corner straight after. So it's all happening. I was just going to say and make the point about Axel Charpentier, because if he, like he did in the pre-final, holds everyone up on the last lap, it does mean they all kind of battle and he is left to pull away. So you don't really want to let Axel keep out in front if you're one of his rivals, but he's doing a grand job at the minute. He leads the way, still ahead of Glenn Van Berlo. Third place is Adam Smalley. Fourth place then is Mark Kimber. Again, one to watch out for. He's come from 12th on the grid and he's getting closer and closer now towards the front. So Mark Kimber, add another name to the list who could win this final race of the day for the juniors. Through turn one they head. Good bit of action happening just outside the top 5 places. And there they are. There's Ruben Del Sarte. Down the inside line he goes of number 23, who's now starting to drop as well, which is Conor McCarthy. To the head of that train is the other man who fell down over the last lap, Ollie Caldwell. He's come through at the end of lap number 7, down in 7th place, just ahead of Javier Hansemeyer at his home track, and also Antoine Percival, who's there as well in 9th place, car number 44, and then Ruben Del Sarte rounds out your top 10. Conor McCarthy just behind them as well. There's the leader once more. Axel Charpentier comes to the final couple of corners. A good first sector there, good second sector as well from Glenn Van Berlo. Sector after sector now. He's starting to close down our race leader. So Axel has a slight adjustment to the kart there. He had a brief look as well before they entered the corner to see who was behind him, and he'll be able to hear him soon because Glenn Van Berlo is now near enough in touching distance to make a move on our race leader. So through they head on towards turn number 3. They've had a warning flag held out to number 37, which is Pepijn Krajeveld. Pepijn finds himself outside the top 10, down in 15th place. There's confirmation for Pepijn's warning. Any more of those and he'll be greeted with a time penalty at the end of the race. But he continues on for now. Again, not much to choose between the top 2. Adam Smalley has brought himself back into the mix as well. Sits there in 3rd. There's our fight for 8th place, Antoine Percival, Ruben Del Sarte, Javier Hansemeyer. No change between those on this lap as they work their way down through the right-hander at turn number 8. Watch out for the green and black kart in there as well, which was Tebay Clement, who's come from 24th on the grid. He's currently up into 14th place and, of course, took a heat win yesterday. So Tebay may not be a winner, but definitely inside the top 10 as Glenn Van Berlo goes for a lead change on Axel Charpentier. He's got it done, so he could do what Ollie Caldwell couldn't do and get past our race leader. Axel now drops down to 2nd. Glenn Van Berlo is our leader. Another brief look over the shoulder there from Axel just to check who's behind him and what that threat may well be, because he'll know every single race manoeuvre from all of these. He's raced with them, of course, at the Winter Cup and, of course, earlier on last year as well. Adam Smalley, fairly new name to the juniors and a fairly new name for Axel as well to deal with, who is now on his bumper near enough as they work their way through turn 7. 4th place and almost there now is Mark Kimber. Kart number 7 is making it a 4-way fight for the lead, which is very enthralling for us as they come through turn number 9 down towards the final corner. Does Axel respond for a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. He sits there in 2nd place, but again, you're in one of those positions where you have to defend and attack at the same time, but attacking is what he does now at turn 1. And here comes Mark Kimber for a change for 3rd place down the inside of Adam Smalley, and again another place has been gained for Mark Kimber, so no holding back the youngster now for Strawberry Racing, who's got himself onto the back of his teammate. This could be a little bit deja vu from the Winter Cup when these two, Axel and Mark, came together at the final corner on the final lap. Let's hope it doesn't happen on this occasion, and I've had a stern talking to from the event 6 weeks ago. We'll wait and see when we get there in about 4 laps time. They work their way now on this 11th lap. There is the fight between 36, which is Laurie Lepper, he's in 5th place, and Tamino Bergmeier is just behind him. Those two have broken away now from Ollie Caldwell, and again it could have been a different story for Ollie in this race if he'd have managed to keep with the top 2 or 3, but he was, of course, shuffled wide at turn number 2, and from then on in he hasn't managed to get himself back towards the front. But on towards the start line comes Glenn Van Berlo, down towards the first corner. Axel tries to remove, Glenn went defensive there and he manages to get through, but that was very close for comfort between those two. They were shaking hands on the grid, but now of course they're in race mode. They'll not worry about what happens previous to the race. They need to race. They need to get their points for the championship to get underway. Axel leads, Glenn Van Berlo 2nd. 3rd place for Mark Kimber, who now is under attack from Adam Smalley. And here it begins, the defensive drive from Axel Charpentier. Would he have a push in towards turn 5? Nope, they all behave themselves. And look now for the rest of the pack to all catch up. It's going to become a very long line of karts at the head of this field. And I just ruled out Ollie Caldwell, but I could be completely wrong once more because he's got himself back to the top 6. And he's now looking to work his way through. And again, Glenn Van Berlo has to go defensive, which means Axel Charpentier, what he does best, can pull away. The gap is going to extend to definitely over half a second this time round. Glenn Van Berlo goes defensive in towards the last corner. It gets very close as well between those two because Mark Kimber is going to try and move down towards the first corner. He needs to react quick because Axel Charpentier will get away otherwise. So Mark Kimber looks, he can't find a way through, sits there in third place. Adam Smalley is with him. Laurie Lepper is there now. Ollie Caldwell, Tamino Bergmeyer, Javi Hansemeyer, Anton Percival, and Ruben Del Sarte, and Conor McCarthy, and Joe Phillips. They've made it a big, big train, and there's nothing to choose between any of them. Meantime, Axel Charpentier is your leader by 1.8 seconds. A race that looks so promising in terms of a close fight out front has now completely changed around because Glenn Van Berlo is having to do the defensive drive, and with it, no one can seem to get through. So Mark Kimber is getting frustrated in third, Adam Smalley exactly the same in fourth, and everybody else. Look at that line of carts heading down towards turn 8. I don't know how many there are, probably about 15 by the looks of it. The last of those is going to be somewhere around York Cross in 22nd place. So this is a race and a half for second. Meantime, Axel Charpentier goes through to start his last lap, and he can't see anyone around him anymore. They've completely disappeared. So Axel Charpentier is out front on his last lap. It's all going to be now the question about who's going to finish on the podium in second and third places. It's Glenn Van Berlo and Adam Smalley for now. And Mark Kimber's disappeared as well. He's dropped down to, where's he gone? 6th place. So he made a move at the final corner, but has finally dropped back and doesn't look like he can get himself on the podium. Although saying that, he may have just got back past Ollie Caldwell. Has he? No, that was Laurie Lepper up the order. And in fact, Kenzo Etz is another man to lose out there as well. 15th place he's dropped down to in that fight for second place. So the train continues. I think the whole field are in there for second, near enough, as they work their way through turn 7. Meantime, Axel has worked his way through turn number 8. He's done turn number 9. He's on his way to the final corner. And Axel Charpentier, after a weekend that looked like nothing was going to happen, he's won the pre-final and he's going to take victory in the final here at round 1 in Genk. Axel Charpentier is delighted and he wins by what's going to be over 6 seconds in the end. Drama at the final corner because there's a few that have dropped out. But Glenn Van Berlo has held on somehow again to keep everybody else at bay. He comes through for Hugo Motorsport in second place. 7.3 seconds in the end was the gap between the top two. Adam Smalley gets the podium for Coles Racing after the win at the Winter Cup. Fourth place goes to Laurie Lepper for VRT. KR Sports, Ollie Caldwell comes through in 5th place. Mark Kimber drops down to 6th, but bear in mind he made up 6 positions from the starting grid. Javier Hansemeyer in 7th. 8th place for Conor McCarthy. Joe Phillips again made progress to get inside the top 10, just ahead of Tamino Bergmeyer, and then we've got Prish Balak and Ruben Del Sarte to round out your top 12. Just a word about the others. Tom Canning didn't make any progress, unfortunately. He finished down in 34th place, and there was a few others towards the back as well that had a few problems throughout. But Axel Charpentier is going to be a very happy man after that. 2 wins here at round number 1 gives him maximum points heading off to round number 2.